All the leaves are falling and the temperature is getting cooler. So you know what that means, right? That's right, indoor season is upon us. That's what we're going to go over today in this video. I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to get started for your indoor season. So I'm going to go over how to set up the bow and change things around from the way things were for the outdoor, and also just go over some little tips and tricks that we can use to our advantage to be able to get back into the swing of things and get our shot working for us again, make everything flow a little bit better. Alright, so tip number 1 here is going to be adjusting our equipment for the indoor game that we're going to play. Whether this is, having a Vegas face, having a World Archery face, whatever your organization may allow, we're looking at anything from a 23 series diameter arrow all the way up to a 27. Sometimes it's also personal preference. As I've said in some other videos, I am going to use a 23 series arrow this year. I'm going to test it out because I think it might be a little bit more forgiving and a little bit better grouping on paper. Tip number 2 is going to involve the arrow rest. So when we go to our indoor arrows from our outdoor, obviously it's a larger diameter shaft. So what we want to do is be able to move that arrow rest down to be able to accommodate that. I actually don't go through here and move my loop any at all. I had a good shooting bow in the outdoor series, and a lot of that has to do with the hold that I created from the height of my loop. I don't want to change that. So all I'm going to do is just move the arrow rest down and accommodate that and get my arrow set to begin with at 90 degrees to the string, and that's where I'm going to start. Next thing I'm going to do is actually go through and change my blades. So I may change it to a wider blade to help hold that arrow shaft on there, and a lot of the times I'm going to change to a little bit stiffer arrow blade as well. That's what's going to help accommodate that arrow rest, being able to support that heavier arrow and also the longer arrow that I'm going to be using as well. I also will go through and do some torque tuning like I've talked about in some of my instructional videos. I find that I usually have to move my arrow rest forward when I'm using longer arrows that I'm going to have on my indoor setup versus where it was with my outdoor setup. Tip number 3 is going to involve redoing our shot. So we're going to be starting up close on target, and we're going to be doing some blank bailing. So when we do this, we don't want to have anything that we're looking at to concentrate on aiming, anything in front of us, no target, anything like that. Just bringing up a target butt close to us, being able to take some shots on there and just get everything flowing again. Get our timing back, any bad habits, any tendencies that we had maybe from shooting in the wind or anything like that just to go away, so that we can concentrate on making good shots, repeatable shots, and really get our flow working for us for the indoor season. Because everything going forward, you're going to be out of the elements, and it's all going to be just about replication. Especially at a professional level or even at a high amateur level, everything really revolves around being perfect. You got to have, a 57 to a 60x 5-spot, or a 295 or even higher, on a Vegas face. Tip number 4 is going to be integrating a target. What we want to do is be able to start very close up. We want to start maybe around 2 to 3 yards, and doing this allows you to not have to worry about missing. So it's bringing everything over that we did on our blank bail situation, and we're actually applying it to the target. So we're keeping the same rhythm. We're not worried about missing the target. We're not over aiming or doing anything crazy like that, and it's just getting us back into the flow of looking at this indoor target and making our shots. After that, you just want to start moving back in small increments, 2 or 3 yards at a time until you get back to 20. But at each increment, you want to make sure that you're mastering what you're doing before you move back. Tip number 5 is going to be buy these mini Vegas faces or mini 5-spot faces. These things are great. They're scaled down to be able to use at 10 yards. But what they'll do is they'll give you an accurate sight picture of what you're used to seeing when you're looking at a standard size face at 20 yards. This is really helpful for us. Sometimes in the winter, we can't get outside for whatever reason because of the weather, and we may not be able to make it to an archery range every day or often enough that we'd like to shoot. What this allows you to be able to do is get it 10 yards in your garage or some area that you can have at home, and that way you can get an accurate sight picture, so everything flows a lot smoother when you go from practicing on these small faces to bringing that over to a 20-yard standard size face. Alright, so there you have it, 5 tips to help you get started on your indoor game. I'm going to have a follow-up video coming in the future for more deep diving into the equipment that I'm going to choose, what I'm going to be running on my personal bow, give you all a little bit of chance to see what I'm actually using when I shoot, and hopefully have some pretty good looking targets to be able to show you as well. Thank you again for watching today. I look forward to seeing you soon.